When you start a new business, there are probably a lot of things that you don't know what you should be doing or what you should be avoiding. And so I want to talk about 6 mistakes of new businesses that you should be avoiding. Now, these are mistakes that I personally made when I started my first business 6 years ago. And these are mistakes that I see a lot of entrepreneurs still make or were making when they started a new business. And these are mistakes that's going to cost you your growth. It might even cost you your business. So make sure to avoid these 6 mistakes. Hey, this is Christabel, founder of MindFuel Community. It is a membership for entrepreneurs who want to unlock and unblock the one thing that keeps a lot of entrepreneurs stuck, and that is their mindset, their subconscious beliefs, and their business alignment. So be sure to go check out MindFuel Community. I'm gonna leave the link in the description below. But now let's jump right into the first mistake of new business that you might be making right now. Now, the first mistake that I made and that I see a lot of entrepreneurs make, especially new entrepreneurs make, is playing small. So what do I mean by playing small? Now, it is very, very normal when you start a brand new business or whatever new venture that you're trying to start, a new hobby, a new business. You might feel like you are not the best yet. You might feel like you don't deserve the top spot. You might feel like you need more time, more practice, more experience, more clients, more customers before you can start playing big. So what happens very often when an entrepreneur is playing small is that they might not charge what they really want to charge because they feel like, they gotta charge lower first before they raise the price down the road once they get more experience. Now, what might also happen when you're playing small is that you want to collaborate with people in your industry, but you feel like, who are you to collaborate with these people who are much more experienced than you? And so either you don't reach out to them because you don't feel worthy enough or good enough, or you might play smaller and you might just only collaborate with people who you feel like are on your same level of playing field. So that keeps you playing small. Now, the problem with playing small in your new business when you first start out is that it's going to keep you small for a very long time. Until you start playing bigger, you will always be stuck in wherever you are right now. So for example, in my own business when I first started out, I felt like, oh, I'm brand new in this industry. Yes, I have experience in the corporate world, but it's different because now it's a brand new business and there's so many people doing it out there. They've been doing it for years. Who am I to go reach out and collaborate? So I used to do a lot of conferences and online summits and online events, webinars and all that stuff. And I would always play small. So I would be afraid to approach the bigger names because I felt like I wasn't good enough. Now that resulted in me always staying in that small space. So I was never able to grow my brand name to the extent that I wanted to because I kept playing small. Now the moment I started to play big and the moment I started to realize that I'm just keeping myself stuck here by playing small, I started to reach out to bigger names. I started to reach out to household names who said yes. Right? In my mind, as I was playing small, these people would never say yes to me. But the fact was, the moment I put myself out there and I allowed myself to play bigger, the moment I allowed myself to charge more, to reach out to people that I felt like were out of my league, a lot of them said yes. And a lot of people still paid the price that I wanted them to pay. So, number one mistake that a lot of new businesses make that you should definitely avoid is to stop playing small. Stop playing small, start playing big, start doing things that you feel like you are not ready for yet. Because I'm telling you, the moment you start playing big, that is when you're going to start seeing a huge transformation in your business. Now, the second mistake of new business is focusing on less important things. Now, what do I mean by that? So very often I see new entrepreneurs focus on things that don't really move the needle in your business. So instead of spending their time doing the things that actually get them sales, get them clients, get them networking opportunities, they instead focus on things that wouldn't get them any sales or won't really make a difference. So for example, changing the color on their website, trying a new logo again, trying a new font on your website, spending too much time trying to create the perfect Instagram post. While these are things that are important when it comes to branding and colors and fonts and all that, they are not the most important thing. When you have a business, the only reason that your business will even survive the next day, the next month, the next year is if you have income coming in, if you're generating income. Now, it's not gonna generate income if you're not out there selling and promoting your stuff and talking about your stuff. Instead, if you are hiding in one corner because you're afraid to pitch yourself, you are spending time shifting things around on your website as though that would bring people to your website or bring people to buy your things, then you're making a huge mistake. So one thing that I like to do to figure out if I'm wasting time on less important things in my business or am I actually focusing on the more important tasks in my business right now is I ask myself, if I do this right now, this thing that I'm putting priority in front of all the other things that I know I gotta do, will doing this thing actually result in a sale for me? Or is this thing just gonna make things look more beautiful, more attractive, but will it actually bring in sale for me? So if I were to decide between, do I wanna update my website right now or do I wanna create a content for YouTube right now, because it's exactly what I am doing right now, then my answer is, of course, I'm gonna create the YouTube video first, and then later on, if I have time, I'll come back to the website because I have to create my YouTube content, because through my YouTube content, that is how I get the brand awareness out. That is how I attract new customers into MindFuel Community. That's how I get clients. That's how I get income for the business. So if I'm not creating content, then I'm not bringing in the money, and then there's no business to run at all. Now, the third mistake that I see with new businesses is time management problems. So time management is a skill that all entrepreneurs need to learn and master. Managing your time right is so important because all of us, we have 24 hours each day. Now, if we take away 8 hours of sleep, that only leaves you with 16 hours. Now, you're not going to spend all 16 hours on your business. So how do you actually maximize the amount of time so that you're not wasting time doing things just for the sake of doing things? Because very often, a lot of entrepreneurs, whether new or experienced entrepreneurs, they are just stuck doing things. They feel like they are progressing, they are making a progress in their business when they are doing something. However, that is not true at all, because very often entrepreneurs spend time doing all these nonsensical things that make no difference in their business. So there is a great time management tool that I absolutely recommend, and that is setting a time limit on every single task. So for example, if you need to create a content for YouTube, instead of saying, all right, today I'm gonna create a content for YouTube. Now let's start with research. I'm gonna research what I'm gonna talk about. I'm gonna write down all these things, and then I'm just gonna flow with it. Now, the next thing you know, the entire day has passed and you've just only created one YouTube video. So what I like to do is I like to say, for this hour, I'm gonna do my YouTube video. And for 1 hour, I'm gonna research what I'm gonna talk about, have all the points, and then I'm gonna record the video in 30 minutes, and then I'm gonna put aside 1 hour to do the editing, right? So in total, that's 2.5 hours of my time. Now I'm gonna complete everything in 2.5 hours. And I'm not gonna take any time more. So if at the end of the first hour of researching and I still feel like I don't have the topic or I don't have the things I wanna talk about, then it's too bad. I gotta move on. I gotta flow with it. Because the moment I allow myself to go past that 1 hour into the second hour, to the third hour of researching, what I end up doing is I go onto Google or whatever, wherever I'm searching things, and I start spending time down the rabbit hole. So I start going down the rabbit hole, and next thing you know, the whole day has passed. So time management is super important when it comes to being an entrepreneur. When you are a new entrepreneur, you wanna make sure that you set aside time for all these things that you want to do. Make sure that you stick to the amount of hours or minutes that you allocate per task and don't go beyond it. Now, the fourth mistake that I see a lot of new entrepreneurs make with their new business is charging too little. Now, I can absolutely understand this, and I've been there before where I felt like I wasn't good enough or experienced enough yet to charge what I wanted to charge. And I want to give a little caveat here. When you are starting out brand new, you've got no clients at all, in my humble opinion, it is okay to charge lower so that you get the experience. You might even do it for free for a couple of people in exchange for a testimonial or a reference. However, once you've gone past that first few clients, and I'm talking about like you've been doing this for a few months or even a year already, and you're still charging what you were charging, and you're still not increasing your price, even though you feel like you should be increasing your price, you feel like you're charging too little, that is when the problem comes in. Because now you're still charging low, not because you feel like that's the right amount of price that you should be charging, you're still charging low because you feel like you don't deserve it yet. And that comes down to the whole topic around self-worth. So what do you feel like you are worth? So when it comes to deciding how much to charge, it's very often down to two things. First is what you believe this thing is worth, the value of it, and number two, what you feel like you are worth. And very often those are the two things that determine how much you end up charging for your product. So on one hand, you might feel like, all right, this thing is worth $100, right? This thing is worth $100. That's the value, and that's what I see a lot of people are charging as well. And then the second part to it is, but do I feel like I am worth $100? Or do I feel like if I were to charge $100, no one's gonna buy it, it's too expensive. Maybe I should do $27 instead. So really ask yourself, whatever you're charging right now, and there's no right or wrong answer to it. Whatever you're charging right now, is this a number that you feel like it's worth? So if you're charging $100 for your service right now, is it worth $100 or is it worth more than $100? And number two, is it something that you personally are okay? Deep inside you, is your self-worth telling you that you are worth that $100? Or is there a subconscious fear that if you were to increase your price, people will stop buying from you, customers will leave? So when you are a new business, you do not want to make this mistake of charging too little, especially as you start to have more experience and more time and more growth. You want to make sure that you are constantly reviewing your pricing and make sure that you're also working on your subconscious beliefs around money and what you're worth. Now, the fifth mistake that I see a lot of new businesses make is aiming for perfection. Now, very often I meet entrepreneurs who are always trying to aim for perfection, whether that's a perfection with their launch, perfection with their products and service, perfection with their copy, their graphics, their Instagram account, perfection in everything. Now, the problem with aiming for perfection is it often keeps you stuck where you are, and instead of going out there and testing and trying, which is so important for any business, you constantly need to test and try out your new ideas, your new products, your new service. Aiming for perfection keeps you stuck. So for example, you've got a great idea, you want to launch this thing, but you're trying to aim for perfection. You want to make it so good before you even launch it. So you spend all this amount of time trying to work on the sales page, you're trying to work on the product, you're trying to get everything ready, and then you launch it. But because you spend so much time and so much effort trying to create that sales page, that website, that sales funnel, without even testing whether people want it, and it turns out that nobody wants it or very few people want it. And so you spend all that amount of time trying to aim for perfection in terms of the sales page, the sales design and everything, the graphics, instead of spending time getting feedback from your customers, your audience, asking if they actually want this product or service. And then if they say they want it, if they indicate that they want it, they will buy it, then going into creating the product. So you spend so much time trying to perfect the entire sales funnel, perfect the page and all of that, and it's all for nothing. So one thing that I like to do in my own business is try to launch as fast as possible. Now, the moment I have an idea for something, I sit on it for a couple of days at most, and then I try to launch it in the most minimal way possible. So I don't go out there and try to create a product already. If I have an idea for a course, I don't go out there and start creating the course immediately and then try to sell it, because what I'm trying to do is not aim for perfection. What I'm trying to do is to make sure that whatever ideas that I have, products or services, that people actually want it. So I validate it and then I create it. And here's the saying, if the first product is perfect and too amazing, then it's too late. So just know that when your first product, the first version, when it goes out to market, it's not going to be the most beautiful product that you're gonna sell. You might look back at it and you're like, oh my gosh, this thing could be better and all that. However, it is super important in your business to get momentum first. So instead of spending too much time trying to aim for perfection, aim for the most beautiful image or colors or fonts or beautiful website, what you want to do is to aim for momentum. So get that idea out there as fast as possible, get the feedback, and then you can always make improvements along the way. Now, the last mistake that I see a lot of new entrepreneurs make with their new business is not focusing on mindset. Now, when I started my new business, I was very focused on the marketing strategies and tactics. I've been a corporate marketer for so many years, and that's all I knew. And when I went into my first business, that's all I focused on. So which marketing channel do I want to use, what strategy would I use to launch the things. And I was so focused on all these strategies and tactics that I never even considered my mindset. Now, what I didn't know back then was that my mindset was the determining factor for a lot of things in my business. It determined how much I was charging, it determined what I believe I could do and what I believe I could achieve. It determines so many things in my business. So if mindset work and subconscious belief work is completely new for you, what I encourage you to first focus on when it comes to this kind of work is to focus on the thoughts and beliefs that you have around who you are, your self-worth, what you think you deserve, what you think you can achieve, right? Very often, consciously, we might say, yeah, I am an amazing entrepreneur. I'm gonna do amazing things with my business. But subconsciously, inside of us, there's a lot of programming that has been happening since we were kids, right? So from young, we might be programmed to believe different things. And so as you grow older, that subconscious beliefs around who you are, what you're worth, what you can do, might not reflect what you think you truly deserve and what you truly can achieve. And so that's where I'll encourage you to get started. What are the thoughts and beliefs that you have around who you are and what you can achieve? What are the thoughts and beliefs that you have around your self-worth? Do you believe that you are worth whatever you are charging for or asking for? Or do you believe that you are actually worth a lot more or a lot less, right? So those are some areas that you can start focusing on first if you're completely new to mindset work and subconscious rewiring programming. So these are the 6 mistakes of new business that I highly encourage you to avoid making, because it will really hinder your growth. And if you want to see your business grow faster, then you want to make sure that you avoid these 6 mistakes and start focusing on the things that I talked about earlier. If you're new to this channel and you like this video, don't forget to hit the like button, the subscribe button, and also the bell notification button so that you get notified the next time I upload a new video. Alright guys, I'll catch you in the next video.